thousands watching online and around the world, would like to introduce the show. This is After the Smoke is Clear's offshoot called Fly in Formation, talking to different artists across the country. My mix show that I do every week, I try to play independent music for people every week. And in season 3, I decided it was just time to reach out and try to, get people from the inside to give me their perspectives of the local scenes. So right now, tonight, we have rescheduled and are doing a special late night edition of this. Most of the time they happen Tuesday afternoons over on my Twitch stream. But today I've got DJ Baggy Lean joining me, longtime friend, collaborator. And yeah, happy to have you aboard, man. Tell the people who you are and what you do, I guess. How about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a kind of an interesting question, but whenever I hear it, I'm always like, I want to answer it by just stating that I'm a dad first, partner second. I'm a social worker third. And then when I have time, which is increasingly less, given the first 3 items that I listed off.
Sometimes at almost 11 o'clock at night on a Monday, but
that's why we're here, right? So we've got to reschedule.
Yeah.
I do DJ work, I guess, is the way to just, but I mean, that's such a loaded term. It means different things to different people. The simplest way to put it would say, I make beats and I cut records, and collect records, and turntablism stuff is really cool to me. Spend a lot of time doing that when I have time. When those first 3 things are not taking up my time, I try to do those things.
For sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm definitely not a club DJ per se, but I've spent a lot of time sort of backing up hip hop shows in Edmonton and around Edmonton for probably the last 10 years anyways, and then a little bit less lately due to life and COVID-y situations. As
I was thinking about it, man. You've backed me up or whatever on shows before, and it's been like almost, like, I think it's been more than 10 years actually since
maybe
since I had you come out and do scratches for my album Press Repeat a long time ago. And I think we've collaborated a few more times since then, but like, how often do people get you scratching on records that hit, that get released to the public, that get out to streaming? Like, in that past 10 years, how many other features have you had?
Oh, very few, man. Very few. And that's usually a function of me, because I've said no to a lot of things, or like sort of like not, and that's just like not disparaging any people who ask. That's me not requesting
time.
Me, like, I'm not seeking. Well, no, I'm not. There's a bunch of things. Like, I haven't really advertised it. I don't really seek it out.
Right.
Lately, I have been a little bit more, because I feel like I'm finally at a point with my powers that I can actually respect the finished product that I listen to afterwards, if that makes sense. Like,
definitely makes sense. You want to get to a certain level of craftsmanship before you start offering services to the community at large, I guess.
I think a lot of people jump into it too early, and they don't sound that fresh or whatever, and that's fine. Whatever, do your thing. But for me, I've always wanted to kind of I guess, I don't want to say push the limits, because that sounds really lame. It just sounds lame. It just sounds lame. But for me, it's like,
it's real though. I mean, if you're not trying to push some type of limit, what are we doing here?
There's like with scratching. There's like there's old school cuts and there's new school cuts, and then there's everything in between. And the best style of scratching is where you're able to kind of combine all the different flavors into something that is like a really a more expressive language. And until very recently, I wasn't really very capable with a lot of the new school stuff, but I wanted to be capable with the new school stuff.
Right.
And that takes years and years and years and years and years and years of figuring it out. And so
I was
previously, yeah, like trying to like record cuts for people and like hearing back what I was lacing, I was like, damn it, it's just not it's not what my mind wants it to be. Like, I'm
so
not there yet.
to
So
get
I've
to
been,
that level where you're happy with, or more happy with. I mean, everybody's always going to be looking to advance and keep pushing it to the limit as it was. But to get to that level, would you say it's been more like hours spent practicing and gigging or whatever else? But is it more hours spent, or has it been? Do you feel like you leveled up maybe because of like tutorials online that you discovered were good, or like was there some missing link in there that helped you level up, or is it
no, there's no well, it's a combination of everything, but there's no shortcut for work. Like you got to do the time, you got to put the time in, you got to practice. Like it's all muscle memory. It's like scratching is like a percussion kind of thing. It's the best way to describe it. So it's like playing the drums. You could watch all the drum tutorials in the world, but if you don't if you don't actually put the time in, it's just the same thing. So you find time when you can, where you can, and I give a lot of I've definitely had a lot of great inspiration and teachers over the years, and I give a lot of credit to those people for like just like hours and hours and hours of hanging out, sessioning, jamming, and that's like a Skratcher thing too. So Skratcher being sort of a Skratcher Edmonton, anyways, being the Edmonton chapter for Skratcher. Like that's the whole point of it, is to like get together and jam it up, and we jam up for hours and hours and hours, and we've done that for years and years. So it's like
that was something I wanted to ask you specifically. It was about like Skratcher and not just the Edmonton chapter, but I know you've told me like I think it started in Vancouver, right? And then has been kind of something that you and other people have brought over to Edmonton. And now it's kind of like, is it weekly or monthly, or how often has it happened in the past? I know it's slowed down for COVID, but
yeah, I mean, I think we brought it here. I want to say it was like 2015, 2016, around that time, and we did a monthly jam, like fiercely consistently, which is pretty rare. Like there's a lot of chapters, and I'm not familiar with all of them. Certainly I couldn't be like, there's dozens and dozens. It's a worldwide sort of crew, but my sense of it is that they're not all as consistent as we have been in Edmonton until just around COVID time. Things kind of like slowed down. It is a lot of work. It's like every Sunday we do it on Sundays. Once a month on Sundays, and then as you grow up and you have kids, it's like your whole Sunday, right? And
to have dedication at a regular time, set night of a week or a month for anything, is a lot of dedication, let alone to have it be something like art, because I think like, with all the other stuff in life, art takes a back burner a lot of the time, because it's something like that you can press pause on without like any actual damage feeling like it's being done, like I can do that later. That can always be a later project.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing about that's a big part of the Skratcher jams that we've been doing. It is the social element of it. It's actually hanging out and having fun. Like that's like that's the main, like, we're doing a scratch cipher, but it's also super fun. So it's like, it doesn't feel like it's worth it. You know what I mean? Like it's
well, and it develops into a community of people who actually enjoy hanging out together. So
that's 100% right. And so although it's a lot of work to get there and set it up and load in and set up and tear down and get out of there and get back home by the end of it, your Sunday night, you're tired. Totally. It is really fun. Yeah.
Well, and, like
And
it's tough as adults to maintain relationships and have those friendships. So people look to things like, beer league sports or whatever, or art like that to have community around. So it's dope to see that type of community spring up, like from the hip hop community actually too, and give people that hip hop option of going and building community over there with people who like to do that. Which, it might not necessarily be something that you think of in Edmonton, but it's obviously something people needed if it was happening on a regular basis and people were showing up for it. Because, like I said, that takes a lot of dedication, whether it's, for a league you're paying to be in, or whether it's to go create art with people on a regular basis. It's something that people got to put in work. And then beyond that, right? Like, there's a lot to organizing. Like, I know on what is it, June 4th, you've got a battle coming up that's happening there through Skratcher, or with a lot of the people involved in Skratcher, and DJs from across, I think, Western Canada. I don't know how far people are coming from, but and so organizing stuff like that too is another step that really kind of, I think, only really comes from community that cares about building community like that, and about doing that, because there's not a ton of money to be made doing booking of shows. So people who are promoting shows.
oh, hey, speak for yourself, buddy. I made like
all right, you're on
hey,
the way to
no,
the
no,
bank.
I think I made like $14 off of Scratcher. Like, if you think back, like, over, like, since doing it 2015, probably made about $14.
Damn.
And in that, and I don't know about you, but that $14 feels pretty good, man. It feels pretty. But I mean, being sarcastic, obviously.
Yeah.
It is 100% like a labor of love, and that's the energy of it. Is it's like if you're into turntablism, like, just leave your hangups at the door or whatever. Like, it's not in that way, it's not like DJ, like industry DJ stuff, or at all. Like, it's very much like we attract all crowds. We attract, like, the basement bedroom DJ types who are really into turntablism. We do attract the industry DJs. They roll through and they hang out and they cut it up.
Yeah.
And we also attract the people who are very accomplished in or as working DJs as well. And like, regionally, people have rolled through over the years. It's been really cool, because the energy of it is, like, ultimately for the art form. So it's like, if you're into the art form of turntablism, this is the space to share that and to nerd out on that, over that, whatever the expression is. It's not about trying to stack up, make a bunch of money. That's not really the vibe of Scratcher sessions at all. It's really more about the art form,
enjoying each other's cuts, actually, right? Like
100%, yeah, and learning from each other and inspiring each other, pushing each other to, like,
totally,
like get better. It's kind of like a training session.
Yeah, being around other artists pushes you, whether it's MCs around other MCs freestyling in a cipher, or even just having other MCs as you're sitting there writing. It definitely enhances the vibe and gets everybody going to this level of competitiveness that you don't get to otherwise.
It's friendly competition, I would say.
Totally.
Like, for the most part, scratching, it's like golf. Ultimately, you're playing against yourself, and always trying to get better. And
I did want to ask, man, about the scoring of, like, a competition, because as an outsider who doesn't know really jack shit about turntablism, I mean, I've been around DJs who specialize that way, but, like, to me, as an outsider watching it, when I'm seeing people being rated on their routines and on the set that they've just done, I'm not quite sure how much of it is, like, technically, like is this like what's the format for judging at one of these types of contests? Is it stylistic and we're judging art based on who did the art that I liked most, or is it like he executed that triple fucking sow cow scratch, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, man.
and it was done flawlessly, so it gets a 9.9, whereas the other guy didn't do it so well, and it's like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
rating like that. Like, how does it happen?
Well, I mean, it's kind of it's an open and it's kind of a vague question.
Different contests are
If
going
you're
to be
talking,
different,
yeah,
right?
they're
But
different.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So if you like, I'll answer it I'll answer it generally, and then I'll tie it into the event on June 4th, because I think that
cool.
probably is prudent.
Yeah,
But very generally speaking, turntablism battles, the criterion vary. But if you are a turntablist and you're into turntablism, then there's a whole gamut of techniques and patterns and methods and approaches that are generally recognized and understood. So like, it can sound esoteric to somebody who's just trying to pay attention to it without that awareness.
right.
But you will know, as somebody who isn't a turntablist, you'll know if it's good or not, because like it'll sound good or not. Like ultimately it's music. So it's like, if it's held to the same standard as any music is judged. It's got to be clean, it's got to be rhythmic, it's got to sound pleasing, all this other stuff. If you can entertain along the way, that's even better.
Right.
And of course, with scratching or more advanced scratching, it eventually it probably all sounds very similar to the lay person, but it I assure you it isn't. It's got to be like, timing is everything. I think it's got to be clean and sound dope. So it's like, judging itself ultimately, like very generally, they usually are, the judging is done by people who are experienced or have won competitions previously as well, so they have that foundation of understanding around what those techniques are and what those different approaches are. So they know what they're listening to, they know what they're trying to listen for.
Yeah.
And this is like, this is important, because sometimes judging is sus, it's suspicious, like what's going on with this judging situation. But
well, and that's kind of why I asked, does it just come down to whose is the favorite, or like, can people walk away being like, nah, I was totally technically better?
You could speculate all day. At some point, right? If the skill level is all very even and the performances are all very even, it then becomes about style preferences. So it's like, either you might like the selection of the songs that were used, or the tempo of the songs, or the samples that you're cutting, and certainly like what your overall demeanor might be. Like, those things, they all factor into it. I mean, I don't think that anything in life are void of politics, but ultimately the judging should be done, and is generally done by experts, people who are in the art form themselves and get it. They know what they're listening for, and it's totally unavoidable that some people who enter are gonna feel a certain way if they don't win. I've been there a million times, man. Like,
so roughly the equivalent of a rap battle. I feel like everything could be applied to people judging who is or isn't the winner of a rap battle. Like, it's like,
to an extent.
Except I've always looked at turntablism like, okay, but there are like set moves that dudes do and practice, right? Like, there's sets of different types of scratches you can do with different names. So like, whereas in rap, there's not really that. In a rap battle, you're kind of choosing. Well, there's like rhyme schemes and there's like cadences and shit. Yeah, but you can't, like, I don't know, man. There's no like. I don't know. There's no set move list.
If you want to go to like, they're not exactly the same, or they can't be exactly the same, because one is more you're using your voice and your personality and
Well, and so
your
it comes down to who
your
tells the
wit.
punchline and gets the crowd to go,
All
oh, or
that, all
whatever,
that, all
right?
that.
Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
sure.
that in there, and I feel like that's mostly what the rap battle gets judged on. But like,
There's always style. Style can mean different things to different, like style in the scratch game is generally reduced to two styles. It's like funk or tech, like really technical stuff, which is more like synchronized, kind of shredding style. And funk is just it can include that, but it's generally like more pauses, more breathing, um, focuses maybe more on a little bit more pitch. Like it's and even so, even within the scratch scene, there are preferences for style, different types of style. And I like all of it personally, but it's like judges will have their preferences as well. Like,
sure.
oh man, like I prefer this style, I prefer that style. At the end of the day, you know, you just got to come clean,
How's it
try
going
and
at the
express
one
yourself.
on June 4th?
Yeah. So for that one, we're gonna have a panel, 3 to 5 guys judging, depending on how things fold out or play out that night. But it's head to head elimination. So there's going to be if we have more than 8 enter, we'll do an elimination round and get down to 8, and then it'll be brackets head to head, and they'll advance till it's the final round. And each round will be judged by a 1 or a 2. So each person in the competition will be assigned a number, either DJ1, DJ2, and at the end of each round, the judges will just raise a scorecard on the count of 3, 1 or 2. It's got to be an odd number of judges. Nice. So it's like it's not a technical approach like the DMC competitions. They really break down like all the different sort of a number of metrics.
Okay.
Go into scoring the DMCs, whereas for our approach, it's more of a gut feeling, more of a that was clean, that was tight, that was dope, whatever.
Crowd
like
reaction and stuff like that might factor
crowd
in a little bit more.
Crowd reaction, maybe. I mean, the judges are all very talented scratchers, so you know they know what they're listening for. They're not, you know, they're not there to like they're not
see who's got the most
care too much about the crowd.
Hype boys. Yeah,
probably not. No, like I don't think so. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the cats that are going to be judging.
But like you said, typically, if a musical performance is going to be technically good, it's also just going to be something that satisfies a crowd. So likely the people who do good performances.
Yeah, if you're train wrecking, if your cuts are, if your timing is off, if your needle's skipping, if you know, if you're freezing because you know the spotlight is big and that happens, and your flow is off and you're just doing the same thing over and over, or it's like, you know, kind of lower level skills, cuts, if it's rudimentary cuts, that's not going to stand up against somebody who has been able to be more articulate and bring more flow and variation and make it sing, you know.
So speaking of scratching contests, I was looking at your Instagram as I was waiting for this thing to start, and I saw that you were the winner of something called the chopping block. I don't know, weeks ago or something, a few weeks back, maybe 4 weeks ago, a month ago. And what is that? And how often do you compete? Are you going to be competing in more stuff?
Well, the chopping block was hosted by Paul Skratch, who is one of the founders of Skratcher in Vancouver. And he also has a product called Cut Marks, which is when you think about turntablism, you got stickers. You think about people putting stickers all over their records, just cue points.
Yeah.
Cut marks are reusable stickers. They don't like glue up your records and leave residue all over the place. Okay. And they're really artistically designed, so they look dope. They're not just like a shitty neon circle from Staples or something. Right. They're really, really tasteful product. And so he put this battle on, and it was an international battle, so anyone around the world could enter this battle. Um,
Dope.
and I've honestly, man, I was stunned. I didn't expect to win it. I've been entering and losing competitions very consistently for a long time, man. Like, so it's like
Do
yeah,
you
like
do a lot
lots
of
of.
them online? Like how are these? Are a lot of them kind of worldwide
Well,
online stuff?
nowadays they are because, well, I mean, not just COVID, but even before COVID, a lot of them are online because turntablism is really, it's gone back underground, man. Like it has a hard time competing with a lot of the more
And
popular forms of DJing that are like
but like
dominant
with everything else,
in
though, the
yeah,
internet's gonna unite all these niche cultures like turntablism or whatever. So, uh,
yeah.
yeah, totally. I think
Like
it
that,
works in the favor of smaller cultures, maybe.
like yeah, like well, let's just say for like every city of 1 million people, you might have a handful of people who are like literally a handful
Yeah,
who who have put time and energy into the art form where they're even interested in trying to battle. And just from like a coordination perspective and trying to um, have enough people entering a battle,
yeah,
if you are organizing a battle, it makes more like the online approach makes a ton of sense because then you have access to those 3 people in 1 million all over the world rather than trying to do a brick and mortar approach where you
totally.
could put a
There's
lot of
just not
effort
the
into.
support there,
Yeah,
boots on the ground. Yeah,
yeah, you can put a lot of effort into trying to do a battle locally and have no one show up because you don't have any talent. And that's kind of how it's been, unfortunately. I think for turntablism for a while. So it's like take it's had to go another way, and that's where Skratcher is really cool because it's found a way to bring turntablists together for the right reasons,
hmm
and it's build that network. It represents that network. That's essentially
hell
what
yeah.
Skratcher is. It's a network of like-minded turntablists, and and so I mean it makes sense to do the online one. For us to do the in-person one, Skratcher Returns, it's 100% relationship based. Like we have like everyone, a lot of the people who are coming and are like helping to put energy into this event are people who are part of Skratcher and have been part of Skratcher for years and years and years and years and years and years.
Totally.
And after COVID, people are like tired of.
Well, and I think it makes sense to for communities like that to have big get-togethers that bring out a lot of the talent to one place like that, because that's how you're going to get draw and the cross-pollination between people's fan bases and stuff. So I think it is important to have those live shows too, but it's dope to see things move online and be able to unite community on a wider level as well
Oh
at the
yeah,
same time, right?
the online movement is obviously it has momentum. It's going to
It,
continue to
will
it's going to
will this
continue to grow.
Will the June 4th event be like streamed anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a second to explain that. We're very lucky to have Vect, 7-time DMC
Yeah,
world
legend.
champion. Vect, man,
Yeah, yeah.
he's Canadian as well. He's from out east,
Oh, cool.
but he's been spending more time actually in the Edmonton area. Doesn't live here, but he's here. I guess like a third of the year or something like that, maybe a little bit more. Um, and we've just been really lucky to sort of have him interested in doing something like this, and just also cats from Vancouver, Mike MSA, um, Kilo. Who else is coming from Vancouver? Il Stylus is coming from Vancouver. I think there's other people. We've got L Train coming from Winnipeg, who
Nice.
is a national scratch champion. He's ill. Uh, Seasick coming from Calgary and his brother Fat Rock. And those are all guys who are, I think some of them may be bad. I think you know what? I don't want to like give out who's battling per se, because that's
Right.
there's a thing around this where it's like you kind of keep that hush hush. But the organizers are they're bringing that energy, you know, trying to make something cool happen. And um after years of isolating and doing the internet thing, it's like, you know, like sometimes it's just good to like physically get back together. But yo, like it's
So
just
so
like,
but you won't be able to compete in this one on June 4th, is that?
oh, they're lucky. I'm not. I'm just kidding. No,
Yeah.
as a coordinator, as a, you know, if you're organizing a band, I think it's just a bad look to. You talked about judging,
Right.
right?
Right. You
You
don't
know,
want you don't want the biases. That makes sense.
for me, I just trying to keep that as honest as
Yep.
can be. There will be opportunities for me to pursue other battles where that's not an issue. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
I look forward to those. Switch gears a little bit. You make beats too. You've got like a BeatStars going on. I've rhymed on. I remember when you were trying to sell beats on BeatStars originally. You messaged me annoyed that nobody was buying these beats at one point, or I mean, like slightly annoyed. I'm kind of playing it up. That nobody was buying these beats. We were joking about it, and so I was just like, well, fuck it. And I went over and bought a beat and made it and put it on Spotify the next day, and now we have a song called No Video that I played before this interview. But when you're making beats, I always ask MCs this question about like, what's your ideal song process, like recording process, writing process? How do you get to that finished song? And I ask, like, you know, do you like being in studio with the producer there as a beat's being made? So I want to flip that question to the producer side of things and ask you, like, what's ideal for you personally when you're making beats? Do you enjoy collaborating with an MC like that if you're going to be working on a track that you know somebody's going to rhyme on, or that, you know, you're looking to have somebody rhyme on? Would you like them to be there with you in studio, or do you like kind of holding up to yourself and just putting them out to whoever?
Oh, turtle mode 100%.
Yeah.
And that speaks more to, I think, my environment than what would be an ideal situation. Like I don't have like a dedicated studio space or anything like that.
Sure.
So it's just not like an environment where I can do that. Take the other approach where you sit down and work on a song in real time. But I'd be fine with that. That'd be great. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I've always fantasized
If I
about
win the
doing that.
lottery,
But
we'll rent out NATO's
that's right.
studio and go sit there for a week. Yeah.
That's right. So I mean, for me, it's very much like a kind of a is it insular? Is that the word?
I think so. Maybe
Yeah,
sounds
like
about right.
yeah, sort of a yeah, I guess a private process, but I'm also pretty picky about what I share out. So it's like sometimes you'll sit down with the best of intentions, and it
Yeah.
doesn't come out good. It's like you know what I mean? Like I don't want somebody sitting around listening to that experience. You know
Over
what I
your
mean? That's not
shoulder for
about
that.
it.
Yeah.
No, man, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not like anybody who tells you every time they sit down they shit out diamonds is full of shit. It sometimes it's just not coming together the way you want it to.
Dude, I've been streaming a lot of sessions, and like, you know, the last track I did, I streamed 3 sessions in 3 days and did a verse every day. And like, I think sometimes the product is going to be good enough that it'll be something I'm happy with, and other times it's just going to be something I'm doing for fun, and that'll be, you know, how that goes or whatever. But I've been kicking around this idea of like, how many sessions do I want to have that I'm not streaming, so that I can just sit there and fucking dial in to the process that way, you know?
Well, yeah, if you're trying to like, especially, I think that's especially true if you're learning something or you're experimenting with something that's like maybe not your pocket or your comfort zone. That's a bit high risk to be public facing all the time, you know. But
Sure.
I mean, whatever, man. It's also there's also some honesty to that. So it's like um to each their own.
Yeah,
I
totally.
think yeah.
So yeah, that you answered my question though about how you prefer to make beats. When are we getting another Liberator project? You're a Liberator officially, right?
I think so. Yeah. Hey man, I say that only because the Liberators is like I have so much respect for the original two,
Sure, yeah.
John Press and Self the Bluest Eye, that I've always felt kind of like an honorary member rather than like an original.
I, I can
You
dig it.
know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
But like I mean we've been doing shows together for years and years and years and years, making music together for years and years and years. So it's like, yes, I am a Liberator. Um, when is the next one? We'll see. I mean,
Or how about shows? You guys, I saw did a show recently.
we just did one last weekend with Jimmy Burnett and No Sure and Discount Line Safari, and
Thanks
that
for
was really
putting me onto
that,
those guys. Those guys are dope.
man. Honestly, I hadn't done a show with Discount Line before, and I have done shows with Jimmy Burnett and No Sure before when they were operating under different aliases. There's Jimmy Rhythm and Clancy Boone.
Oh, see,
Man,
that's the type of info you only get here on Fly Information. It's
well,
people's old aliases and shit.
I mean, I don't think they would care, but
It's the
I
type of shit
meant
I want to know.
I mention it because I've been really lucky to work with, like, to back them up as DJs or as a DJ for a long time. Like when Jimmy first released when he did his first show, his first album, Hindsight Genius, I think it was. It was like, dude, this was like 10 years ago, long
Yeah.
time. And I was a little bit more active as a DJ per se at that time. You know, didn't have kids yet, all that. And it was a really great experience. It was a really fun show. Um, very fond memories
Dope, man.
from that night. And then when he hit me up we did a show in January this year. That was the first album that he had done since, I believe. Like, so it'd been like 10 years where he's lived life for 10 years.
COVID didn't get in the way. It was just
Well,
for 10 years.
you know, he had life, man. Like everybody goes through things. Everyone has things. He had things, and he hit me up, and he's like, "Yo, man, it's got to be you. Like, it's got to be you. You got to be the one that DJs the show." And
Good
like,
taste.
I hadn't been doing shows for ages, man, honestly, and my gear was not reliable. I had tried to do one before that, and just, if you don't have reliable gear and it's not up to date, it's like the worst experience. Like as a DJ, like, you just sort of like, it's not even fun.
Yeah.
And it's stressful and all the rest of it. And so when he hit me up, I was like, all right, you know, like, because it's you, we have that history. I'm like, okay, I will invest a little bit of money in some stuff, because I was trying to do that anyways. Honestly, it's saving my pennies for a long time to try and get something a little bit more contemporary, some modern equipment. And when he hit me up, it was kind of like kick in the pants to like make it happen. And I'm so glad that I did, because between that show in January and then the show last week, it sort of reminded me why it's fun. And it's like, hey, wait, I've got something to offer here. Like all this time also learning how to scratch, because you don't need super fancy equipment to scratch. You just need the basic, really analog gear.
Right.
And I spent a lot of time learning. So then being able to bring that new or updated skill set to a live show was really a great opportunity and really fun. It kind of re-sparked that passion,
because some of that energy back from the crowd.
Man,
right?
yeah, I mean, we've talked about a lot of stuff offline, man, but COVID's been brutal. It's been an absolute disaster for my little family and
for a lot of people.
for a lot of people. This interview is about me, Doobyis. Okay, I'm just
Hey,
joking.
yeah.
But like,
Keep the
I'm just teasing.
focus right where it
I'm
should be.
teasing. I'm being sarcastic. I'm being sarcastic. But like, it was a tough time, and I think that like, it's hard. It was hard professionally. It was hard, my family, and it was just one of those things where it's like, you can very easily kind of lose a little bit of perspective on life, and like lose sight of the things that are. You can lose your grip sort of on the things that are positive. Those passions can sometimes be forgotten a little bit, and so I mean, I'm really happy, really lucky. It's meant to be, I guess, is what I'm getting at, man. Like I think him asking me and having he was just so insistent. I've been really good at saying no, man. Like, no, man, no, man, no, man. Like do a lot of things,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was really, really insistent. It's got to be you. And I'm like, I'm glad he was, because he was insistent, because
It's a good fit. I mean, from listening to his music to listening to the stuff you do, and yeah, the stuff the Liberators do, like it's all it all lined up. I bet that would have been a good show to be at.
it
You
was,
know,
man. It was a great show. I can tell you that. Like it was everything went smooth. All the artists were sound check. That was crazy. But like everything
yeah.
was
What
smooth,
happened at
man.
Soundcheck? You told me you're gonna tell me about how it had 4 sound checks that happened. Was
We
it
just had a lot of sound
Kaz
checks,
itself
man.
got to the microphones? Eh? They just wouldn't stop.
No, they were fun, man. They were good. Um, I don't want to like. I'm not trying to like expose anything or nothing. It was entertaining. It was like some of the best sound checking I've ever seen done before.
Okay, let me
So,
try to get a different story out of you then, if you're not going to give us anything on that one. When I talked to Kaz and I don't know, I mentioned something about sample clearances. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he told me, oh, you got to talk to Baggy Lean and Self and ask them about sample clearances, and they'll have a story for you about I don't know,
being
problems that someone
kind of
came at you with or some weird thing. And I was like, oh, did they
no,
get caught up with sampling something? And he was
you
like,
can
no, that wasn't it. So
no, you can become a sample if you're not careful.
so did somebody sample you? Is that what's happened here?
I don't even. Here's the thing, man.
Sample the
So I know
Liberators?
in hip hop there's always like people like to there's always like some drama sometimes that can come up. People like they like it, and you have a choice. You have a choice whether or not you want to feed it or take the high road. I've been an adult for a long time. I'm gonna take the high road. If it was 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't. I just think that like um it's
Cass was trying to
important.
stir the pot. You're not having it.
Oh yeah, no, he sure was. No,
Okay.
I'm gonna dodge that one as well. But
Well, I apologize for putting you on the spot like I'm DJ.
no,
Vlad
not
over
at all,
here
man.
trying to cause
It's all good,
hip-hop
man.
beef.
I'll leave it at this. Um I think that collaborating is sometimes challenging because the way that I've been historically used to collaborating is you have a fairly good relationship with the person that you're collaborating with,
Right.
and based on that rapport there comes based on that relationship there's trust, and you understand what the collaboration experience is going to involve. It's going to be a lot of iterating and back and forth and sort of like collective input on sort of what the finished is.
Right.
I've learned that that's not the way cats do it sometimes these days.
Sometimes guys just buy the beat off World Star, and then
It's
the
like
fucking song is online with a music video
it's
the
just
next day, and this dude's like,
yeah, and
watch me drop
I'm not
this shit with no music video. Fucking guy.
I'll kind of leave it at that, where it's like the way that I'm accustomed to collaborating is not always the way people are
I
gonna
can dig
approach
it.
it, and so there was a lesson learned. and I'm not going to throw shade. There's nothing there. Like, I have no ill will toward anybody regarding this. I'm just saying that, like,
Cool. And honestly, I applaud you taking that stance, because I don't want to be the interview segment that stirs up Canadian hip hop fucking drama between
this doesn't need to be
guys whose
world
music
star.
I play or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Like,
this doesn't
honestly,
need to be.
I'm here to build a community rather than to do that shit. So
100%.
thank you
100%.
for not indulging in that foolishness. But,
I mean, I think it's like,
yeah.
what the lesson is, I think, like, when you are going to collaborate with someone, this is for anybody. If you're going to collaborate with someone, have a conversation at the beginning of that around what the collaboration process itself will be. How are we going to do this? What are your expectations? What's your timeline? Who has veto? Is there veto?
So
how much of this do I have control over?
Right.
And I'm sure that different people listening to this will relate to what I'm saying. Like, oh yeah, you got to have that conversation.
Totally.
Yeah. Because I think that if something is released, or if there's a hiccup in that, like if that conversation is not had, it can cause friction that is totally avoidable. Totally avoidable.
So here's a question: as a producer, you're in a unique position for that, because you sell beats on BeatStars, right? Like I
kind of, man, yeah.
So like that is just giving somebody the rights to take that beat and do a thing with it, is it not?
That's like, different. That's different.
So maybe for those beats, those are ones that you don't mind people jumping.
BeatStars is a whole different situation from like an organic, like, collaboration. Like BeatStars,
it's part of the production game. Like it's part of the scene of being a producer. And
I'm not a BeatStar by any means, man. I did it for like a few months. I was like having fun with it. Like I might get back into it one day, but it was like one of those things that, I was curious about it, so I was dipping my feet in.
Yeah, totally.
And I did have a lot of fun with it. I learned a lot. But I think that, like, when you are doing BeatStars or something of that ilk, you are understanding. You're understanding your relationship with the product that you are releasing. You're saying, this is my part to play in it, and that's it. My job is to put together an instrumental. If somebody's willing to lease it, great. They have full creative control over what they do with it. That's different,
totally,
from a more relationship-based approach like you have with your crew, where you sit with it and you spend time with it and you plan it out and all the rest of it. Now, I'm not saying you can't have that approach through a BeatStars situation. I'm sure people do it all the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's just very different. We're talking about underground hip hop, like so it's that kind, like, yeah, it's just it's a bit different, man. It's a bit different. BeatStars stuff.
I get you.
Yeah.
But to flip this and take things back to being positive, talking about, building community and stuff. Another question I'm asking everybody is, who is dope in your city that people could check, maybe should check, might not be checking? Just name drop people whose music you like. Whether that be DJs or MCs or anybody else who's doing the thing. If it's a spot that hosts a night that people should be checking out in Edmonton, or whatever, radio, or anybody who's part of the scene, who deserves light in Edmonton.
Man, I love the Team 1260 guys, the sports radio. Yeah, they got the best talk radio in town for sure. So check out the Gregor Show. It's a good one. It's on every day. I think it's like 2 to 5, 2 to 6 or something, Monday to Friday. It's a good show. But I don't think that's what you're talking about. I think you're actually talking about music. Man, it's a good question.
I mean, honestly, love for all the independent podcasts, whether it was a music podcast or not. Shout it out if the Gregor Show on your drive time radio is probably not.
I'm just gonna. I know that's not what you're talking about. I was just taking it away. By giving that answer, I'm exposing myself by saying, like,
Give me
I'm
a
not.
second to think.
No, not even that, man. Like I'm not like I don't listen to a ton of local hip hop in Edmonton anymore. I
Yeah.
used to all the time, but I just I don't anymore. And that speaks to, I don't know, maybe like what my focus has been lately. My
Well,
focus has been more making beats and scratching and
in all
being
fairness, though, you
having a
already
family.
have shouted out a few. You
Oh,
shouted out, I think,
I'm gonna do a
3
better job now.
different
I'm gonna
Edmonton
shout out
MCs that you did show.
I'm gonna shout out all the homies,
Yeah. Okay.
regardless of whether or not they're still like active or whatever making music. But the homie DJ Shaolin Monk,
Yeah.
he's like yeah, friend, teacher, all that. One of the original influences for me, and one of the homies that's down with the Skratcher crew in Edmonton. So I have got to acknowledge the homie Shaolin Monk.
Hell yes. I have talked to
Corvid
dude.
Corvid Lorax. Shout out to Corvid Lorax. If you don't know Corvid Lorax, he's the realness. He's a I don't even want to call him old school, man, because he's just got energy for days.
I feel like he hangs out with so many young cats because he's working with young cats making hip hop, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like he probably is more into like young hip hop, you know, like he if any old head is up on the train, it's gonna be
every time I talk to him about music, he's always talking about stuff that I'm like, man, you like he is always hip. He's always with it.
Yeah.
He always knows what's going on.
Big supporter.
Yeah. I did mention Jimmy Burnett and No Sure, aka Jimmy Rhythm, Clancy Boone, the homies. They are actively putting out music right now as we speak. So check out their work.
I think it was called No Magic was the newest.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Jimmy Burnett. It's a collabo album between him and No Sir?
It is.
No Sir just on 1 or 2?
Yeah, he's on a couple tracks.
Okay.
And Jimmy does all the production or most of the production, and you know it's his EP, right? So it's got a couple features from No Sir.
Yeah.
And I call him No Sure, but I guess it's No Sir.
I don't actually know how I'm supposed to be pronouncing it. You know the guy, I don't, so I'm gonna believe you.
Hey, yeah, man, he's the dude, man. He's the dude. And of course, man, the Liberators, you know, that's the crew.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Put your L's up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Well, that's dope. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate you spending time to do this. I know it's tough to find time to fit it into a busy schedule and all. But you know, I appreciate all the artists who are doing these things and helping me try to build some community and just share info. And I don't know, it just is what it is. I'm like, why not? If I'm gonna be doing this show and talking to all these artists anyways, why don't we chop it up a little bit? So I appreciate you coming through to talk, and this time letting me podcast it, because I think, like, you know, we talk every few months or whatever, and last time it was like, well, this could have been a podcast after we talked for a couple hours.
We get into some stuff though, like we get into some pretty deep conversations,
deep into the political weeds for sure.
Rarely even about music. Oh, shout out to Epic too, man. He's got me on let's record some cuts for Epic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man.
That was another thing I was going to ask before I let you go. Anything to watch for coming up?
Well,
music?
I mean,
there you go, the Epic.
Yeah, there's the Epic drop. It'll be coming soon. And
is it like a single or an album, or what did he have?
I think, honestly, man, I don't even know. I think he's working on a project. I mean, he's just like, yo, I got this song. I need some cuts for it. So he sent it my way. I was feeling the beat.
Cool.
Feeling the energy on it, and he gave me a ton of space to do my thing. And
love to see it. Shouts to Epic and Saskatoon.
I've always wanted to
records. That's
yeah, man. I've always wanted to work with Epic. So when he reached out, I said yes immediately.
Dope.
Yeah, immediately said yes to that.
Cool, man. So, where can people find you online, as far as like your ats and stuff? Baggy
Lean, Instagram. That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one. My Facebook is also Baggy Lean. So if you're interested in Facebook, you can find me there. I'm not as involved on the Facebook side of it, but
I think you even have a Twitter that's at Baggy Lean. Your name is so
oh,
original that
maybe.
you've managed to grab them on every. I found
Yeah,
you over there. I think I app mentioned you
maybe,
before we went
man.
live here tonight.
Really?
Yeah, Twitter's where I'm most active. Twitter is hip hop, man.
I got a
People
tweet.
in Alberta don't understand it, but
Mm,
Twitter is where hip hop lives. You can connect with the hip hop community through Twitter.
I got a tweet.
Yeah, you gotta get on that tweeting.
I got
But
a tweet.
yeah, thanks for doing
Yo,
this again, man.
no, I appreciate you taking the time for this. And yeah, man, June 4th, Skratcher returns.
Hell yeah.
Spect, L Train, Mike MSA, Seasick, Fat Rock, Il Stylus, all the local cats and more. It's gonna be dope. We got Skratcher Classic Battle, Flipper Flop, Beat Juggle Battle.
Where do they buy tickets? Is there
It's a free
online
event,
tickets
man.
or walk in? Oh, there
It's
you
a
go.
free event. Walk
Boom.
on in. Pay
Doesn't
what
get
you
any
can.
better than that. Any
Pay
more
what you can. We're gonna
community-based.
put the hat around. We're gonna put the hat around. Help us cover some expenses. You know, people are flying into Edmonton to do this, so it's all for the love and for the art form. And if you can make it out, that would be amazing.
And what
Show
about
any support.
Skratcher? Is Skratcher happening on a regular basis again?
Yeah, we're gonna get this is the thing. This is sort of the regional marquee event, trying to reanimate this thing. And certainly we're going to keep the monthlies going at the Black Dog final Sunday of every month.
So is it like a spectacle? Should people who aren't DJs come down and be part of this thing, or like is
The
it
monthly?
Yeah.
Listen, we like anybody who rolls through. The marquee, absolutely come through. It'll be a good time. You'll love it. It's
Yeah.
meant for an audience.
Sure.
For Skratcher,
I'm talking about the monthly Skratchers where
the monthly,
you guys just sessioning.
absolutely, you can come through, drink a beer, hang out.
Yeah.
We always get people coming through trying to understand, what is this? What are these people doing here?
And how about new DJs? Like if there's some guy who just he won the lottery, now he's bought his tables and he's in Edmonton, he wants to figure out how to do some hip hop turntablism stuff.
Yeah, man.
They're
Come through.
All skill
Everybody's
levels
welcome.
Cool.
All skill levels are welcome. And we're always down to like show people stuff and like answer their questions. And everybody gets better, man. If you attend as a DJ, if you attend these things on a regular basis, you're always going to make gains. You're always going to get better. So
hell yeah.
Yeah,
that's
welcome.
What it's about. Keep leveling
100%.
up. Yeah, dude. Thanks. It was nice talking to you.
Likewise, man. Peace.
Right, peace. Okay. So, thanks anybody on Twitch who's been watching. I'm going to shut her down for the night, and we'll get this one pinned to an upcoming episode of After the Smoke is Clear. Thanks for hanging out.